Happy Monday, crew, once again, and welcome to another edition of the Emotion Room. We're going to go through Manchester United versus Bournemouth. Underwhelming score, but what were we expecting? I don't think we had beaten them in 5 games with a 4-4 earlier in the season and now a 2-2. It was always looking that way. Some controversial decisions in the game, according to some. I haven't really spoken to Dan about it, just because I don't really like going in depth with Dan about it, because I prefer to go in depth with him on this exact show. Beating Aston Villa seems like a massive, massive win now after that draw. But the top 4, top 5 race seems to be heating up a little bit with that. But Chelsea dropped points, Liverpool dropped points. So I think we've got it in the bag, but we'll go through that. The cup game yesterday, despite Manchester United not being in it, we have to discuss it, right? It was a huge game. And City, should we call that the first strike of the season? I know the title race is practically done, but
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to ask you, Dan, when we do get onto that subject, was that Man City win last night, is that going to affect the Premier League? Is that going to affect Arsenal in a positive or a negative way? Were you happy to see Arsenal win that, or were you not? But we'll touch base on that. We're also going to touch base on Bruno Guimaraes, which it was Tonali seeming like the one we're going to get. Now it seems like Bruno Guimaraes is the one that seems to be heating up. We kind of discussed, weirdly, remember I did a whole piece on it with you and Alex, which one I would prefer. And I said
Yeah.
Bruno Guimaraes is the one for me. So, I mean, I'd take either one. And I think our midfield needs either one or both. But with Newcastle really struggling, losing to Sunderland, which is huge. Eddie Howe, as we've said numerous times, that is one thing I did message you, didn't I, Dan, this weekend? He
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
not get enough stick, does he, Eddie Howe?
No, it
I know
doesn't.
he,
It
I
doesn't.
know he's got injuries and things like that, but losing to Sunderland, sorry, it's not
Home and
acceptable.
away.
Home. Oh, wow. I didn't even know that. Home and
Yeah.
away. Right. But Bruno Guimaraes seems like he's being linked with Manchester United. How serious that is or not, we'll go through that. And finally, the Leeds game and Manchester United not playing for basically a month. Basically a month. This is sad, sad times. Sad end to the season, really. I'm so ready. I kind of voice noted you this, didn't I? I sounded a bit dejected. I'm so ready for this season to be done. Who's the new manager? Is it Carrick? Is it not? Do we get top 4? Let's get in the transfer market, have another transfer window similar to what we had last season.
Yep.
That's where I'm at. Anyway, enough waffling from me. Guys, if you haven't head over to Dan Talks United, please head over to his page, subscribe to him. I would really appreciate that. He would really appreciate that. I did not watch the Bournemouth game in its entirety. I'm so busy with work these days. So, floors over to you, Dan. Of course, I've caught up on the game. Of course, I've caught up on the highlights, etc. But pretend I've not watched the game. If you had to break it down for me, Dan, talk to me about that Bournemouth game, mate.
Yeah. Probably very similar to this bit of a pattern emerging a little bit, I think, with our games at the moment, where the first half always seems to be a bit of a struggle. Almost like we're trying to work out the other team and see what they're doing first to a certain extent. But at the same time, we are very slow out the traps. I did say probably this game and the game before that we were trying to sort of force something in terms of like balls into the box, that sort of thing. But a lot of the time, because again, Sesko's not starting, those balls going into the box are just to no avail. And Burmo's not reading them. I don't know whether it's a tactical thing or whether it's just him not having that sort of number 9 nous to get into the box on time. I think he prefers, as you'll know yourself, he prefers that ball in behind that he can run onto it if he's going to play that sort of false 9 sort of role. I don't think he's sort of a sit and wait in the box type of a player. So he's more of a creator from Brentford days and chipping with goals here and there. So I think that's a little bit of a struggle for us doing that. I think the intensity, because we've talked about this, we've talked about intensity, we've talked about possibly our fitness levels have probably come to an end now because there's that switch in philosophy around fitness and around intensity of training, and that's starting to tell for me. So I think all that combined sort of shows why our first halves are normally not great, and we normally do better in the second half. Anyway, this game was a bit different because you've already touched on it, that there's that controversy. So obviously we got that penalty, which was a penalty. In fact, all three were penalties, but we'll come on to what I think about them. So the first one for me, Cunha, you'll have seen the highlights now anyway, I'm sure. But
Does what he does.
Really, yeah, he did really well going down that left-hand side, sort of cut in between two players, and then is it Jimenez, I think it was pulling him back. It just got done, Jimenez, and I think it's one of those, a bit like what Maguire did for their penalties. They've done it off instinct, so it's one of those. I think we've all played football where you get beat and you think, I just want to drag this player back, and he's not thinking, he's dragged him back, and it's a penalty. And obviously, Bruno, the man of the moment, steps up, slots it in. I think he did the hop, the skip, slots it in. Nice sort of first penalty, first goal, should I say. And then I think we're probably going to get the advantage, because then you'll have seen the highlights of Ahmad cutting into the box. I feel that was a penalty. It's one of those where if it's not given and the game plays out and it's 1-0, you don't talk about it. But I think in this game, because there was controversy around the decisions, I feel that he had two hands on Ahmad. I feel that he's sort of almost like twisted Ahmad's body and sort of almost chucked him to the ground to a certain extent. Some people might say that Ahmad went down easy, but for me, I think he had enough hands on him. And if you watch the replay back, I can't remember which defender it was, but he wasn't even looking at the ball. It was just a case of Ahmad sort of beat you on the inside. I don't want you to get a shot off, so I'm just going to chuck you out of the way.
Question.
When you watch his eyes and stuff, he's not on the ball at all.
Question. Did VAR even look at it?
As far as I'm aware, they did, and then just said, because the commentators just said that they've just agreed with the on-field decision, so play on type thing. And I think
because instantly they went up the other end, didn't they?
This is the thing. The salt in the wounds then is that I feel that Bournemouth got a little bit of a bounce from that in a sense. And obviously the crowd's behind them. It's just only a small ground. You can hear everything from the crowd. The crowd's up. Players are upbeat. They've gone on the other end. I think it was Christie. Sort of jinx a little bit. Scores. Decent finish, but it's one of those where poor defending for me.
He's passed it into the net, hasn't he?
Yeah, pretty much passed it into the net. And I think Le Mans is sort of unsighted. Sort of sees it late and then dives for it. I mean...
He literally pressed X. I mean, if there was ever a FIFA or Pro Evolution, I was
finesse shot.
Pro Evolution soccer guy. I was never a FIFA guy. It's now all called new names now. I have got to that point. I've stopped playing games. That's not against anyone that does play games. I just don't have time to play games. But pressing X meant you passed, right? He literally pressed X for that goal, didn't he, Dan? Yeah, go on.
So I think. Obviously, the defending could have been better because there was probably Yoro and Harry Maguire was probably involved in that sequence where one of them should have pushed across and sort of pushed the player back a bit, or just put him under and probably put him on his weaker foot maybe. But he's been able to go onto his stronger foot, and he's just, like you said, he just passed it into the net. It seemed to go through, I think it were Yoro's legs as he went for the challenge. And then the keeper's a little bit unsighted, probably sees it last minute. Again, it's one of those where this is one of my criticisms of Le Mans. Really like Le Mans, massive improvement over Onana and Bayern. However, for me, when it comes to certain shots in the corners and some shots outside the box, he struggles with at the minute. So I think he just needs to get his positional sense right. I think that'll come. I think he can learn it. It's not something where he can't learn that, to be fair. But other than that, really like Le Mans, but I don't. It's tough whether to say he could save that or not. I think the highest level keepers save that for me. But I'm not going to blame Le Mans too much. And then I'm trying to think what happened then. And then we had. Then we must have scored again. Yeah, we scored again.
Bruno. Was that a Bruno? Does that come down as a Bruno assist?
No, because it was an own goal, wasn't it? It was an own goal.
It was an own goal.
Yeah. I was hoping for that because it looked like Maguire had headed it in. Yeah, but it was an own goal, so you don't really get it for that. So so we got that pretty quickly afterwards, to be fair. And then you're thinking, right, we're in control now. And then that sequence of play then happens at the other end where the ball gets played through to Evan Nielsen, and Maguire's kind of just don't know if it's switched off or he's just got beat by the ball, but however, he hasn't got the speed to recover.
Yeah.
So for me, I think you'd probably say go for the challenge. If you go for the ball and just miss the ball, I think that sort of seen as a different sort of foul in a sense. The only problem is I think he's last man anyway, so I don't know how it would have fully worked. But generally speaking, people say if you go for the ball but you miss it, you've gone for the ball, haven't you? Whereas in this case, he hasn't gone for the ball; he's just grabbed the man. But it's for me, it's much softer than the Ahmad challenge. So for me, if you're not going to give the Ahmad one, you don't give that one. But they are different when you look at them back. I think all three of them are penalties. But my point was, if you'd have given the Ahmad one, I think Bruno's going to score that. We go 2-0 up. I don't see
the game's done.
Coming back from that, the game's done. Yeah. Whereas you've let that sequence play, he's got up at the other end and scored, and then they get a penalty later on. So the controversies around the decision making around the penalties, and I think we have put a complaint into the refereeing association, I believe. So I don't know how that's gone so far. I don't know how long it takes for him to come back with a decision on that, but the best we're going to get is, we made a mistake, move on.
Yeah, I mean,
so, I guess it's worth lodging it, possibly, but...
Yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer. When I see Bruno moaning at the referee every chance he gets, say what you want. That builds biased or at least something in the referee's mind that when the next decision hits, he gives it Man United's way.
Yeah, possibly. Possibly. It can be counterproductive sometimes. Depends on how they win. Sometimes if it's too much, the referee might say, you know what, fuck you. I'm going against you.
True. But the refs are human, right? The refs are human.
Yeah, of course. You can alter it. I mean, it didn't work for Chelsea when they were doing the huddle around the ref, but each to their own. Each to their own.
But the point is, I guess their appeal on Manchester United's end is maybe the referees next time will have a bit of a second thought about not giving us a decision.
You've got to be careful because obviously if it goes our way where you got Howard Webb coming out saying, yes, you're right, you should have got a pen, then that's going to resonate down the line, isn't it? But let's see what happens. I know a lot of people are saying you can't moan about it because the decisions that you've got in other games that shouldn't have gone your way. But this is football. You will get some, you won't get some. But when it's clear and obvious mistakes, you've got to call it out. And I don't think we've been good at calling it out. I think Amorim never wanted to call it out. I think the club as a whole never really wanted to call things out. I mean, I cast my mind back to when Walker stamped on Dorgu. If you remember that game against Burnley. And he sort of stamps on him when he's on the floor already, and then he sort of tries to make it look like he's done it on accident and tries to pull him up. So Dorgu saved him on that one for me. But for example, he should have been sent off for that. So and then also there was a decision where I think did Martinez score in that and he got disallowed. That should have been a goal. So these things happen, and we've probably lost 4 or 6 points from bad decisions this season. So if we don't get top 4, I'm sure we will, but if we don't get top 4, that's something to look back on, which would be a shame to say that have done that.
I'm very much decisions kind of balance themselves out.
They do.
Not that I'm here trying to back PGMOL or whatever.
No.
It's a tough job. It is a tough job, and all we want is consistency. And you'd think with VAR we would get that. And look,
it's just when it happens in the same game, that's where my issue is.
Yeah,
game to game's a bit different, but in the same game, that's quite.
It's very rare you're going to get 3 penalties in one game. Whether they are penalties or not, it's very rare that that's going to happen. And I think you're asking a lot for that to happen. But a penalty's a penalty, so I agree with you there, Dan. I could see why the Ahmad one wasn't given, and I could see why it needs to be given. So that's just me being as fair as possible with that, Sometimes when you fall over like you've been sniped from the crowd, shutting this door. Sometimes, when you fall over like you've been sniped from the crowd, that doesn't help you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you're expressive in that nature, it can be a bit dodgy.
And it did feel like someone's just shotgunned him in the shoulder, and he's doing the tango. No offense to Ahmad, it could just be at speed. You get touched, you fall, right? 10 out of 10 for trying to get it. I'm not saying he's dived, by the way. I'm just saying anyone, if you feel a touch in the box, why not? It makes total sense, right?
2 hands is.
I can see why it should have been given, but his fall as well was a little bit. But anyway, with the Maguire situation on the other end, I think with Ahmad going not away from goal but side on, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Yeah, totally. Vintage Ahmad is he pulls the trigger with his left foot and he hits the
yeah.
target, right?
This is it.
Totally.
Yeah,
But if you look at the Maguire situation, I don't know who was going through the
Evan
Bournemouth player.
Nielsen.
That's it.
Evan Nielsen. Yeah,
He's
yeah,
literally facing goalwards, you know,
yeah, yeah,
when
yeah,
he
yeah.
beats this
Yeah.
player.
I'm not
And
disputing that being a pen, by the way.
yeah,
Yeah,
totally. You know, I know you did. I'm just
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
kind of
It's just that
the difference
I don't
between the
see
two.
that panning out if we get that Ahmad pen. I just don't see that
You're
being
right.
a
That
situation
came
in the
after,
game.
didn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah,
came after. And as for Maguire, my initial thoughts were, for goodness sake, you got to trust your goalkeeper a little bit. You haven't got Onana in
yeah.
goal. But let's be honest here. These things happen so quickly.
They do.
Uh,
It's instinctive, isn't it? You've just been beat, and you're thinking, I just need
yeah, I
to.
mean,
I'm the
but
last man. It's
yeah,
embarrassing. I get
exactly.
it all, but
But then
he
you
did
just think,
something similar in the first half, I think, actually, but he
yeah,
didn't grab hold as long as he did for that one. So
yeah.
he's again, the refs probably evened up on that one. He's probably gone in in the interval and thought, you know what, probably should have
Yeah,
at least
exactly.
looked at that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm going to
Yeah,
I'm going
but
to
on the
even shit
Maguire
up now.
situation, you just do think
Yeah,
does a
yeah,
top level defender make that decision or say to his goalkeeper
mm,
there and then, right, it's your turn, step up for us?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
if Evan Nilsson goes through, he might score, he might not, right?
It might not. He's
Um,
not on form particularly, so you
and
never know. But
if he scores, you've still got 11 men, you know. But
exactly,
again,
exactly.
these things happen so
Yeah,
quickly.
it's got to be that split
Um,
decision thing, isn't it? Yeah,
Look, I know I didn't predict. I predicted Sesko to start, bringing Bumo on. I think that would have a bit more
yeah.
of an impact on the
Mm,
situation. The amount of crosses that went into the box. I know I said I didn't watch it, but I did watch it back. Right, the amount of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
crosses that went into the box, and it's like, for goodness sake, man. You know, where is Sesko? Where is Sesko?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so I know Sesko's been great coming off the bench, but I felt like he should have chopped and changed it against Bournemouth. But it is what it is.
Mm.
2-2 isn't the worst case scenario considering
Not in
Chelsea
the end.
lost,
Yeah, yeah,
Liverpool lost. I know Aston Villa won, which brings me to put
yeah.
this on the screen, right? This is the current table. And yeah, Villa are 1 point behind us. I don't know if you can see that there, Dan.
Yeah.
Um, but you've got Liverpool on 49 points, Chelsea on 48.
Yeah.
I mean, but Chelsea are in sixth, right? I mean, you've got to look at Villa and Liverpool right now because those are, and I don't even think fifth place is confirmed yet, is it? Because of the way
No, no,
the
no.
way the English teams are getting pumped in Europe these
This is the
days.
problem.
I don't even think that's confirmed. So we have to look at it as fourth place, not fourth and fifth, if we're
Yeah,
honest.
definitely, definitely.
The Villa are now 1 point behind us. Are you worried?
Yeah, yes, in a sense, because I wanted third place obviously solidified so that we don't have to really worry about where we finish too much. Because obviously to sort of think we've got that cushion of fifth, I'm not so sure we've got that cushion of fifth anymore. So it worries me a little bit. But at the same time, I've said, and the reason why we've caught Villa is that they were always going to drop points because of that midfield, and obviously they've still got their key players out. Telemans, for example, Kamara. So
Yeah.
I don't think that fully improves until one of them or both of them come back. And as much as we could drop points, don't get me wrong, there's 7 games, and we have got some tough games coming up. I still feel, I mean, again, you never know what Liverpool you're going to get, for example. Leeds won't be an easy game. So it's not a formality that we're going to come away with, 7 games left, 4 or 5 wins out of them. It's possible, but it's not. And we've got Chelsea as well. So who knows what Chelsea will get. So I'm a little bit worried purely because I wanted that cushion. I wanted to have that sort of 3-point cushion over Villa. Not sure what they're going to have next. I'm trying to remember who they've got next now. I think that Sunderland. I think they've got next. I could be wrong.
Let me
Sunderland
see.
coming up. And
I'm going to look at the fixtures now, but yeah, carry on.
If you've got Sunderland coming up next, they're a tough team at home to beat. They've got a really good record at home this season, so I think Villa have been a little bit better at home. than away. So I think for that reason, if we can at least not lose in our next game or so, I think we should be okay. Liverpool, I've got some tough games coming up
So
themselves. I think they've got Fulham next, Liverpool.
Aston Villa, their next game's Nottingham Forest to just beat
Also, they've got
Spurs.
Forest next, right? Yeah,
Just beat Spurs 3-0. Right?
yeah.
I mean,
Forest will be a
I mean,
tough game.
then they have Sunderland.
Yeah, then they've
Then
got
they have
Sunderland after that. Yeah.
then they have Fulham.
Yes.
Thereafter, they have Spurs and Burnley. They've still got Liverpool and Man City to play.
Yeah, it's not easy actually. Then not easy. So
So
that might
yeah.
help us a little bit. To be fair, like I say, Liverpool's run. I'm not sure on that.
When you've heard those fixtures, do you really think Aston Villa can be consistent across the board and get more points than us?
I'd be worried. Obviously, I'd be worried if two of their key players came back, and I'm not sure if they're due back anytime soon. Obviously, this long break gives them more time to come back. I get it, but I'd say overall, with that running and our running, especially that we've got teams that we will be in a game with Liverpool, no matter what Liverpool are like. We're always in a game with them. For me, we'll be in a bit of a game with Chelsea, possibly. So, but if we can get points off them, and if we could beat one of them as well, because I could see us beating Chelsea. To be fair, I think we should be all right, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
we should be all
right.
right.
That. We've got Leeds next. That's never going to be an easy game, but it is.
No, it's at home, but it won't be easy.
We've then got Chelsea. We've got Brentford.
Yeah.
We have Liverpool, as you mentioned. We still have Sunderland to play, who you mentioned is a tough game.
Yeah.
We've got Nottingham Forest, and we finish with Brighton.
And Forest might still be scrapping by then. They might still be scrapping Forest.
I ain't gonna lie to you. When you look at both fixtures, they're quite balanced.
Yeah.
I think it's a tough one. It's going to be a close call. But even if Villa do pip us, that means we get fourth. What I don't see is Liverpool or Chelsea closing the gap.
I can't see them gaining 6-7 points on us. I can't see it.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we're okay, but it's not a given. It's not.
So I still think Liverpool have got another loss or two in them. To be honest, I think Chelsea
too. Yeah, and Chelsea too. So I think. I mean, I can't confidently say we finish third, but I think we get top four.
Yeah. I'd be amazed if we didn't now.
Yeah,
it would be shocking if we didn't now. To be fair, is probably a better word. It'd be shocking if we didn't get that now, because I'm still even thinking that we could push City a little bit, and that might be a bit wild take, but City I mean, I know they might have been galvanized after that win. I know we're going to talk about that anyway.
We're going to talk about that,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, interesting. It's going to be interesting running.
Yeah, before we do talk about that, let's pop this up on the screen, because our next game's the 13th of April. Just fucking crazy, mate. It's basically, it's 3 weeks away, but this is in the 4th week, right? Because it's on a Monday.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's Monday Night Football again.
It's embarrassing. Let's have it right, you know. If this was any of my rival clubs or anyone I was bantering, I'd like, so you're not playing for a month. You know, what sort of break are you on? Not playing for nearly a month. It's just, you know, I
know some of it's international break, in it. Some of it's international break, but even so, there's an FA Cup games coming up which we should be in, so that would have shortened it. And we're not in the FA Cup. We're not in the Carabao Cup, obviously. Not in Champions League. So it's just terrible for us. We've had too many of these breaks. This is the longest one, but we've had too many of these breaks.
We've had too many of these breaks. I mean, look, here's our
this can't happen again.
And here's the form guide, right? We've obviously just drawn 2-2 with Bournemouth. We beat Villa 3-1, huge result. Lost to Newcastle, beat Palace, and the Everton wins there on the bottom. You've got Leeds' form guide, 0-0 with Brentford, 0-0 with Palace. They are still in the FA Cup because they beat Norwich, and they lost to Sunderland and lost to Man City, right? Mate, like the form guide's there, but a Leeds game is never an easy game, right? And I've just got a message come through here. David, have you changed your opinion on Kobe or still find him a La Liga player? My opinion has not changed, unfortunately. Listen,
I'll take a lot to change.
He's got so much room for improvement. I'm not Kobe Mainu out. I've said this multiple times on these streams. I'm more that he's not the answer to our midfield. he just needs to improve, right? And hopefully he does. Hopefully he does, and shuts me up and proves me wrong. And who am I anyway? You know what I mean? At the end of the day. But Dan, before we move on to the next segment, where you at with this Man United Leeds game? You firmly think that's a win, yeah?
Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards a win purely because it's at home. And like I said, Leeds form is a bit patchy, but again, like you're saying, it's not going to be an easy game because I don't think it ever is with Leeds. We went to their place, was it towards the end of last year, and that was 1-1 in the end, wasn't it? So I know it was with Amarin and stuff, but was it Amarin still? Trying to think now.
Yeah, I think it was.
It would have been, wouldn't it? Yeah. So yeah, it's not going to be an easy game, but I would say that we'd narrowly win this one. I think we need the 3 points again now, really, just to solidify things. But yeah, I'd be
pretty disappointed.
Not get 3 points. Yeah, definitely.
I'd be pretty disappointed.
How do you feel it's going to go? How do you feel it's going to go?
I'm kind of in the. I mean, it's a must win. You know.
Yeah, it feels that way.
It's a must win, no fucking about here. We have to get a win, especially after getting a draw. I mean, that's the sort of standards we need to keep. Michael Carrick has come in and raised those standards. And fair play to him, right? Because Amarim took it into the depths, right? We've discussed that. But, you know, we can't now be like, oh, do you know what? Poor Carrick, you know, he's done really well to get us in this position. I guess the draw will be okay. No, you know, the standards are there. And yeah, Le Monde says here, bench Mbumo against Leeds. And I think he's right. I think Mbumo, we would discuss this in the last show, didn't we? Where I don't think he deserves to be on the bench, but I think he needs to hold the bench for a second, just based on that game. And that should hopefully give him the lift to come on as a start.
Yeah, we need to force some sort of
reaction,
increase in his performance and reaction. Yeah, because I just don't want it to dip even further. That's all, because there's a lot of times he's walking off the pitch and he's trudging off, sort of thing.
Yeah, correct.
Why me, sort of thing. And I think something needs to spark inside him, really, because it's going on for a long period of time now where
he's dropped off a bit.
Really been at his best. Yeah.
He's dropped off a bit. His touch, his decision making. He's rushing things. Sometimes he's completely not involved in the game. And that's not a good sign, you know.
No, it's not. I found myself frustrated at him at times, which I never was when he first came in. And I found myself a little bit frustrated with him at times where it's like, okay, there's times where he's making a run and he's not getting the ball. I get that. But there's times where even when he gets the ball, like you've just said yourself, his touch is off, for example, or is just whacking it over the bar. He's just not in control of the ball in a sense sometimes. And he's a way better finisher than what he's been showing recently. But yeah,
he's missed a lot of. I mean, listen, he's been great for us this season. Especially under Amarim. I mean, he got Amarim out of a lot of trouble, right?
Yeah,
there's been some opportunities in recent weeks that if he had put away, it could have changed the game. And he's missed a few sitters, and he's just not as involved. He's not as involved as he has been. And look, Le Monde mentions Xerxes here, and you know I'm a Xerxes fan, but Carrick is obviously not at all. And he says this should he come on instead of Mount. I agree here. I think Xerxes deserves that ahead of Mount. That, you know, I don't want to start a whole new segment here. But I'm ready to move on from Mason Mount. Huge.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. He's just not available. And that's
he's not available, number one, and the only time he could fit into this team is under a Ruben Amorim type.
Yeah, he don't fit in this team anymore. There's nowhere to put him now.
He doesn't fit in this team anymore. No, we need to move on. Just move on quickly from Mason Mount. Even if that means give him to flipping Wolves and get us João Gomez or whatever. But do some quick business. We spoke about Pro Evolution Soccer earlier in this in this stream. You know, do a bit of Football Manager here. And just look at the transfer market, look at the transfer list, you know, the free transfer list. Do some swapsies.
I just want to delegate the negotiations. Just press the button where you say delegate. Say just do something between these parameters, whether it be this money or this money. Press the X button. Just delegate and off you go.
It's so funny you use that word. so funny you use that word press because that's all he was good at. And people were ranting and raving about him under Amorim. His press. We're excellent with him and his press. You know, it seems like a lovely fella. He's been unlucky with his
Yeah, seems a
injuries.
nice guy and everything.
He
Probably would
works
have been a
hard
good
when he
player if he could
plays.
stay fit.
Yeah, we need to move on from him massively.
Definitely.
But yeah, to summarise the Man United Leeds, the Man United top 4 scenario, the Man United Bournemouth. Look, we need to beat Leeds. We need to kick on from there. A win against Leeds puts us in a good place again. Because I don't see all the other 3 teams, if I put this back on here, I don't see the other 3 teams that are in the running. And I guess you've got to look at Brentford and Everton there, to be honest.
You
with
do.
You never know.
To be fair.
You never know. But the other 3 teams that are in the running, I don't see them also getting wins. At least someone's dropping points out of those 3.
You'd have thought
You know what
so.
I mean?
You'd have thought
You'd
so.
have thought so. But yeah,
but it flips on its head this weekend, that weekend, doesn't it? Because you've got to wait for all them to play and see how they get on. So it's whether that
you made this
impacts anything.
point.
But,
yeah, actually, to finish on that, we could be, if Villa win, we drop to 4th.
Yeah.
And if Liverpool and Chelsea, because they both play ahead of us, is what you're saying, they would be, well, they won't go above us, but they would close that
but they'd
gap
be closing
massively.
the gap. Yeah.
So,
and
I
the
mean,
pressure's
pressure
back
will
on
be
then.
Pressure will be on
pressure's
Monday
back on.
night against Leeds for sure. For sure.
Without
for
a
sure.
doubt.
Moving on. How do you feel about this, Dan? Did you watch the game yesterday?
I watched most of it, yeah.
What did you think? Deserved winners?
Yeah, I think City deserved to win in the end. I'm not saying either team was brilliant, but I didn't like Arsenal's tactics in this one. I think you go to a final, you haven't won a cup in, 5 years, is it? Something like that.
6?
I mean, I sort of understand the team lineup to a certain extent. You're going to go with, Fergie used to do it himself, but you go with the players that have got you there to a certain extent. I think Fergie would probably change 1 or 2 here and there, but generally speaking, you give loyalty to the players that have got you to the final. So I understand that. City looked to have done something similar.
Yeah.
I just think the attitude for this was wrong from Arsenal. I think it sort of showed Arsenal for what they have been this season, where, again, I'll respect Arsenal to a certain extent where if they get over the line,
the winners are the winners.
It might not be pretty, but you've done
Agreed.
it, and I get that. You played pretty football over the last few years. It hasn't worked. You've changed tact.
Got to give credit where credit's due.
I get it. But for a final against City, and I appreciate that it's almost like, I suppose, Pep sort of little broed him again, where it's like, you're my sort of, I shouldn't say bitch, but you know, I've little broed you, basically. You used to work for me. You've gone off and done your own thing, but I'm going to show you who's boss, basically. And I just think to start off with a game, and it's not particularly because Arsenal played fantastic. I thought Arsenal was in control of the game early doors, and they were sort of, I don't want to say it all over because it didn't feel like that, but they were sort of pressuring City for the first sort of maybe 10, 15 minutes. And then it sort of switched a little bit and City came back into it, as you've probably seen it if you're watching it. And then I think once that goal went in, but what I was saying before any goals happened was, if Arsenal score, I think Arsenal win it because they'll score, they'll just sit back, they'll stay in shape, and they'll defend well, and they'll see it out. But if City score, it means that Arsenal have to come out if they want to win the game, that is. But I don't think that they came out. I don't know what you thought, but I think even after that first goal from the man there that's holding the trophy, I don't think that Arsenal particularly changed tact. I just think they just carried on the same way.
I obviously watched the whole game. And we'll touch
this
base
will
on this.
Please you, won't it? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll touch base on this in a second, because weirdly, before this stream, I got a message from Terry from Football Terrace.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm an what's the word? I'm a fan of Man City winning instead of Arsenal. I've got to be careful. I can get clicked up. I'm a fan of Man City.
I'm
a fan.
Fake fan, everyone.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Like
of Man
Goldbridge.
City. Exactly that. Yeah. And he was just basically saying to me that, you know, them winning, and the reason he's so against them winning is because of this. But I don't want to digress. We will read this. But it's basically Pep Guardiola is ahead of Sir Alex Ferguson. But I want to stick to this game first,
Yeah,
and
okay.
we'll touch base on that, right? Because with all due respect, yes, that is a conversation, and that is a reason to want Arsenal to win. But surely you don't want Arsenal to win the quadruple. Surely you don't want Arsenal to get this one under their belt. They've practically got the league under their belt. They've got a favourable Champions League running, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
FA Cup is one of those things, you know what I'm saying? And before you know it, Arsenal have won the quadruple.
Yeah,
Not being amazing, but being good enough. That's the truth. Being good
yeah,
enough.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's it. That's history. Why would you
yeah,
want that? I don't care about the Pep Fergie situation. Number one on
yeah,
my priority list before any of that is make sure Arsenal don't win the bloody quadruple. You know, and it would have started here. The momentum would
yeah,
have started here. But
yeah, yeah,
back to
yeah,
the game. Back to the game. And exactly. Someone's just Le Mans just. My fear was Arsenal getting the quad.
yeah.
That is not for me as a Man United fan. The first team to win the treble. Yeah, we do not want a team wanting up that because we can't beat that. You can't beat the quad.
No, you can't. No,
The quad
no.
would be no matter how you've done it, it would be the elite of the elite, and anyone replicating it, even if you scored more goals, even if your style of football was better, you still weren't the first to do it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
for me, I don't care who you support. You do not want Arsenal to win the Carabao Cup because that would kick them on in the Premier League, which they've practically got wrapped up anyway. And I know I've said this already, but I just want to reiterate that will also kick them on in the Champions League. They've got a favourable
yeah,
tie, and the FA
yeah,
Cup looks favourable also. So
yeah,
that's why my number one priority and why I'm shamefully got O'Reilly on my screen with that cup is I'm happy that the quad is off, right? But back
yeah,
to the game, I thought Arsenal started well. And a lot of Arsenal fans are a massive fan of Havertz. Some aren't, some are. And they were saying that we need him back and he'll be the game changer. He'll be the difference. Hey, Hammers Football TV, thanks for coming in. Although you didn't do us a favour against Aston Villa, for goodness sakes. So I'm not a. That is who Aston Villa just played, right? Aston Villa just played West Ham, right? I'm pretty
yes,
sure.
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But yeah, thanks for popping your head in. Arsenal were great in the first half. They weren't bad. They were playing through City. Havertz had a gilt-edged opportunity that he should have put away. Hesitated, took a touch, I think, or maybe just waited for the ball to come across him rather than just hitting that ball
yeah,
with the quickest foot that it arrives at, right? But second half, all I was seeing was Kepa on the ball with
yeah.
rolling the ball under his foot, rolling the ball under his foot, holding on to the ball, rolling the ball,
Oh,
holding on
man.
to the ball, rolling the ball. And I was
Yeah,
watching it thinking, do you know what? This is a cup final. This is at Wembley. What is this?
yeah,
What is this? And irony is such a, or what's the, yeah, that is the word. Funny, he was holding on to the ball all that time, wasting time, trying to entice City onto them so he could pass through them. And the minute he
yeah.
needed to hold on to the ball, he never held on to the ball, right?
Oh, Nana
But
settings, yeah,
they're scapegoating Kepa as the reason they lost that game. I am really sorry. In the second half, it don't matter who you had in goal, mate. It was coming. They were
yeah. It was coming.
dominating.
Yeah, it
They
was
were
coming.
dominating them.
Yeah,
It was old school City, to be fair to them. They haven't played that well or that dominant of the ball in a very long time. I didn't think they could do that ever again, to be honest. They
yeah,
completely dominated Arsenal. And it's so funny. I'm not going to say Kepa's tactics because that's come from Arteta, right? Hold the
mm,
ball, make them come on to us, and we'll pass through them. Oh, did they come on to you? They
yeah,
completely pinned you back, forced an error from your goalkeeper, which I'm sorry, even if he didn't commit that error, something would have gone in eventually because they scored the second goal in quick succession. You got
yeah,
what you deserved.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You got
yeah,
what you deserved. They deserved to win it, Man City. Arsenal were not good enough. They were relying on their little set pieces. They missed Eze, they missed Odegaard. I understand that. But we hear it all the time. Declan Rice is one of the best, if not the best, box-to-box
yeah.
midfielders.
But
He should
Eddie
be
only
up for the
plays well
Ballon
against
d'Or.
Spurs anyway.
Yeah,
For me.
exactly. He should be up for the Ballon d'Or and all this and all that.
Yeah,
This is
yeah. I
where he
didn't.
needs
He's
to
not a
step
game
up.
changer for me.
Exactly.
He's a good player, and I think he's been a good addition. But again, I don't think. I think he's going to win it. as in the play of the season sort of thing, purely because they'll win the league. But I don't think he's been the game changer like Bruno can be. But I know they're
No,
different
I mean,
players in different
listen, they're
positions. I
different
get it.
players, but
So I get that.
the way he's spoken about, Dan, is he should be in the same bracket as Yaya Toure. He should be in the
Yeah,
same
that's true
bracket
from
of these
Hammers
type of
football.
players.
Yeah,
And this is what I've
yeah,
just said from Hammers
yeah,
football.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Arsenal did
Pretty
start
much
off
just that.
well, and
Yeah, yeah,
people like Havertz need to take those chances, right?
yeah, yeah,
Gyökeres non-existent once again. Sorry, but that's
yeah.
just him against
But
bigger
he's playing
teams.
against a bigger team, though, isn't he? Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
yeah.
flat trap bully.
And
Yeah,
listen, this is Man City were without Ruben Diaz, they were without Gay, they were without Gravido, as you know. They
yeah,
just threw Ake in there, and I mean they've got great depth, and so he should be doing a job, right? We talk about
yeah.
players that haven't been
Oh yeah,
played
yeah,
that
yeah.
earn a lot of money.
Yeah, if he's
We
signed
threw
for
on
City, he should do a
Malacia.
job. Yeah.
We threw on
Mm.
Malacia. We saw what happened. They threw on Ake. They did their thing. And yeah, as for scapegoating Kepa, sorry, he is a Wally Kepa. He is a big Wally. But I was on the football terrace for months being told that this is the best squad in the world. Kepa's part of that squad. End of story.
Yeah,
Now,
strange signing, but anyway, it is what it is.
we both agree the deserved team won. I think we
Yeah.
both agree that thank God they won because we wanted the quad to be off. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you agree with me on that a little bit?
Yeah, yeah. For me, obviously, I get why you hate Arsenal probably more than
Yeah.
City. I get it because
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you're from your neck of the woods and my neck of the woods, you're going to feel differently because you're going to come across more Arsenal fans than me.
For sure.
And
for sure.
I get how annoying they are, and you probably got it through school and all that sort of stuff. So I get all
Big
that.
time. Yeah.
But I'm with you on this one though, where I didn't want Arsenal winning a quad for all the reasons you've already said. Did not want that because again, we've already had City sort of supersede some of the stuff that we've done in this end, getting that 4-peat, equaling our treble. We didn't want Arsenal then going ahead and getting a quadruple because, like you've said, you can't beat that then. There's no way of beating it. Even if you score more goals, like you said, or you do it in a sexier way, you can't beat it. So we didn't want that. And I actually don't want them to win the Champions League either, by the way, because I quite like the fact that they haven't won that.
Of course you don't. Of course we don't want that to happen. Like, and like I said, getting that message earlier from Terry explaining to me why I should be supporting Arsenal in this scenario. I understand it, and there's some logic behind it. We're going to touch base on that logic.
Yeah.
But come on, first and foremost, if you're a Man United fan, if you're a Liverpool fan,
yeah,
the quad. If you're a Man City fan, obviously you're going to support Man City in this one. But let's say this wasn't Man City in the final and this was Liverpool in the final, right? Or let's say it was Man United in the final. I'd be shocked if a few Man City fans are like, actually, we don't want the quad to happen.
Yeah.
We don't want the quad to happen. Why would you want the quad to happen?
No,
but anyway, moving on from that, not so much the game, but, moving on from the game, but staying on the same subject.
Yeah.
Do you think this will have an impact on the Premier League?
I thought it was going to do, and I think Alex might have said it on previous shows that he felt, and I was sort of agreeing with what he was saying, that I felt it was going to impact. But since then,
a lot has changed.
We've seen City dip, and they're quite far off it now in a sense. So I just think Arsenal, even if they stumble, they'll still get over the line. So I don't think this is going to make a difference, unfortunately. Although obviously for me, I don't know if I'd want City to win the league, to be fair. But yeah, in this, I just don't see it impacting the league per se. But I do join where you're probably going with it in terms of whether it'll impact them for the other cups. So I think if they were to meet City again in the final for the FA Cup, because I'm sure they're both in that, aren't they? I would see it going the same way again. Champions League, favourable sort of ties. They've been quite lucky to miss out on like your Bayern Munich's, your Real Madrid's, your Barcelona's, even Liverpool, to be fair. So they've got a good chance of getting quite far in the Champions League. But now that this has happened, is it a little bit of, does it knock their confidence a bit to get over the line in terms of a final? Possibly. But I don't think it impacts on the league, though.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to read this comment, actually. I know it kind of goes, not off the subject, but Rice is just another Nicky Butt, Darren Fletcher, Gareth Barry, Jordan Henderson, who are able to do the basics at an elite level. Solid, consistent, and reliable, but not necessarily world class. Rice stands out
Mm.
in today's era due to a dip in quality, but it's all relative at the end of the day. I ain't gonna lie to you, he's not far off. He's
Yeah, I'm
not
gonna say
far
he's
off
not.
at all.
I think maybe one of the players in there. I'm thinking, but then
But I mean, Jordan Henderson's a fantastic footballer, right? And he doesn't get enough credit for what he achieved at Liverpool.
yeah,
Um,
peak Jordan Henderson was good. To
yeah,
be fair,
I know Fergie
peak Gary
absolutely
Farry
loved
was
him.
good. To be
Yeah, yeah,
fair,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Darren
Um,
Fletcher's our own, Nicky Butt's our own. I think
but this is a great
obviously they're
comment for
not they're
sure.
not silky players, are they? But go on, sorry.
Sorry, I'm just saying the comment I put up on the
Oh
screen
yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
a great comment for sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I get
he's
the
not
point
far
there,
wrong.
though.
He's not
He's
far
not
wrong
far
at
wrong.
all.
I think, yeah,
No,
I
no,
think
no,
he's not
no.
far wrong. I think the Fletcher one might be.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously Fletcher gets thrown in with that, but
It's just but it's because those
and yeah,
two had
he's doubled
Scholes
down.
and Keane and quite a
Yeah.
few to compete against, whereas Declan Rice just walks into that team as he has
Do you
done,
know
and
what's
Zubimendi's
crazy?
coming afterwards. So
This
it's
comment that he's,
different.
I don't know if this is a he or a she. So sorry if I'm
Even,
calling you he. Um, Rice isn't even better than Michael Carrick, who
even,
is an
yeah,
elite player.
I don't like that terminology of Rice isn't even better than Michael Carrick
Yeah, no, but
because
he's not
Michael
though.
Carrick was. But what I mean is
Yeah,
Michael Carrick was
yeah,
really good.
yeah, yeah. No, exactly. But do you know what's
Yeah,
crazy? Most fans, especially Arsenal fans, would look at this comment and go absolutely ballistic, and not realize that
yeah.
Michael Carrick was
It's
absolutely
because he's
elite in that
underrated.
position.
That's the problem. Because he's
Absolutely
underrated. Yeah.
elite in that position.
He should have played. He should have had
Um,
more caps for England. I know it was difficult in that period. I don't want to go off track too much, but he should have had way more caps for England, and
yeah,
he
for
was
sure.
underrated,
I mean, it
massively
was in a
underrated.
time where Scholes, Gerrard, and Lampard was there.
It's
I
only
mean,
because the
what are you gonna
terminology
do?
looked like you're trying to say that Carrick wasn't that good, so
But
he's not
let's have it
even
right.
as good as him.
Let's
Carrick
have it
is up
right.
there.
Yeah, Carrick couldn't get in that England team because it was Scholes, Gerrard, and Lampard era. Correct? Yeah. You think Declan Rice? Do you think Declan Rice gets in the England team if Scholes, Lampard, and Gerrard are there?
No
No,
chance.
no.
No chance.
So that
Absolutely
explains
no
all
chance.
you need to explain. Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyone talking to me about Michael Carrick not being better than Declan Rice, you're off your head. The only thing Declan Rice might be better than Michael Carrick at is going for a run. That's it.
Maybe free kicks, maybe as well.
But running is not football. You know what I mean? It's part of football, but it's not football. And, you know, Lamont just absolutely loves Kobe Mainu. Absolutely loves him. David, so are Rice and Kobe both doing the simple and basics, but not... Listen, Kobe Mainu should not be in the same sentence as Declan Rice. That's just being straight up. He's not. Declan Rice is 6 times the player Kobe Mainu is right now. They're not in the same bracket. I know you
Right now, you qualified that with right now. I'll give you that.
Yeah, with right now for sure.
Yeah,
You know,
right now. Yeah.
and yes, we could talk about ceilings and all of this, but they're not even in the same sentence at the moment. Things could change. Kobe Mainoo's 20. I'm aware of that. Let's see what the future holds. But as of right now, sorry, but if we put Kobe Mainoo in that West Ham team and hoping that he would do what Rice was doing for them, I don't think so, my friend. But anyway, they're all coming in now, and I can't get going. But great, I appreciate the comment.
You triggered him.
Yeah, I personally think Hargreaves is marginally better than Rice. He was class at Bayern and at Man United prior to his especially UEFA. He bossed Roma, Chelsea, and final in the first half. Listen, this is a whole
underrated player.
another underrated player. Also
Too many
good
injuries,
on free
though.
kicks.
Too many injuries, though.
Also good on free kicks.
Yeah.
Scored that free kick. Was it against Arsenal? It was against Arsenal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That one where he said
And he
to
was
Ronaldo,
quicker
"No,
than
let
you
me
think
have
as
this."
well. Decent
top
play. He could
player.
play on the wing as well, you know.
Yeah,
He didn't do it much, but he could.
for sure.
He was
And
quality
you know
player.
what? It goes back to this point. Again, great comments. Rice stands out in today's era due to a dip in quality. He's right.
Very true.
You got players like Hargreaves, Carrick, all these players that RSV7 has mentioned. You know, there's not many midfielders now. Anyway,
No.
back to what I initially was talking about before we move on to the last few segments. Will it affect the Premier League? I think the next game for Arsenal is huge, and it's against Bournemouth, I believe. And Bournemouth are no rollovers.
No, we've seen that ourselves, yeah.
I think Arsenal have to win that one, you know?
Yeah.
They have to win that one, but I think they've got enough. They've got enough to be
It's
able
purely
to
because
afford...
City are not on form. That's all it is.
That's it. I think they've got enough to be able to just go into the final 2 games a minimum of 3 points ahead. And I say that
Yeah.
because I think they could maybe draw 2. Let's say they draw 2 or lose 1.
Yeah.
Because what people don't realize is drawing 2 means you've dropped 4 points, right? Is my math correct there? Yeah. Or losing 1 means you've dropped 3 points. Drawing 2 could be worse. You know what I'm trying to say? But let's say they draw 2 and they lose to Man City. According to my calculations, that's 7 points, yeah? If we bring the league table back up here, they are, with a game in hand, 9 points behind them.
Yeah.
So 2 draws for Arsenal and a loss to Man City would mean, according to my calculations, you add 7 points to that. Oh my God, you add 7 points to that and the game in hand as a win, and Man City are top by 1 point. So what I'm saying is it's a lot closer than we think. Yes, a lot needs to come to fruition. And 2 draws for Arsenal is a big ask. Even if we call it 1 loss for Arsenal and a loss to Man City, that's 6 points. With the game in hand, that puts them level on points, with Arsenal having the higher goal difference. I just think going into the final 2 games, Arsenal will have at least 2 to 3 points cushion, I think, and they will have enough to win it. That's what I think. But moving on, still the same segment. I'm going to read this out because, as I said, I did say earlier that I was sent this by Terry. And as to the reasoning why I should not be supporting Man City in this scenario, I've explained why I have. But this is the reasoning, because people start talking like this. When does he start getting the accolades, he meaning Pep Guardiola, for the greatest manager ever in Premier League history? It's not only about the numbers of trophies, it's the dominance at which he has achieved it. 10 years in England, and there's no season he hasn't played a final at Wembley. Man City has played the most beautiful style of football in England ever too. He was not scraping out wins, doesn't have a record of cheating with referees, just dominance and good football. Well, I think he's a Chelsea fan because he's got Cole Palmer there as his image. So, I mean, Chelsea having a hard time as it is. So, of course, why you would want to throw digs at Man United and Fergie, I'm not sure. I don't know. What do you think of this statement? First, but before you come in, for starters, I think Pep Guardiola does deserve to be in the conversation with Fergie. He does deserve it. He's done a lot. But for me, the conversations get shut down very, very quickly for me. Ferguson, what he did at Aberdeen. Ferguson, what he did at Man United, full stop. They were nowhere near the Premier League at that point. And he, much like Klopp took Liverpool out of the mud, and that's why he gets the credit he does, Klopp. Fergie did the same and asserted 26 years of dominance. Created 2 to 3 to 4 teams, whatever you want to call it. So for me, the argument's not there, but I understand and will respect the fact that Pep Guardiola has been amazing. But he took over a Man City that had won the Premier League with Mancini, had won the Premier League with Pellegrini. He's worked some great magic and won the treble with them.
Gets money spent every season.
I'm not
I know we spend as well.
Yeah. I'm not going to take that away from him. But he's not come into a Man City that have not won the league with Mancini and Pellegrini. He's not taken Man City from nothing to something. So for me, that conversation's not even a conversation. It's not a worry of mine, if I'm honest. Where are you at with this, Dan? Do you think there's a conversation? Does Terry have a point messaging me saying that I shouldn't be supporting Man City in this scenario because of this?
Yeah, I do understand what Terry's saying, because I've listened to some of the stuff he said before in this, where he can't get his head round why there's fans out there that don't want Arsenal to win and prefer City to win. So there's parts of it that I don't understand either, but then at the same time, being a balanced person as I am, I get where you're coming from, and other fans that are Southern, because you're going to get caught up in the whole Arsenal thing at school, like as I said already, in college, and you name it. So I get all that. But obviously there needs to be a realignment where we think about the City and the fact that they've grown over like overnight in a sense. Now, the thing for me is, in terms of Pep being in the conversation, let's say, he's got. I mean, I would never put him above Fergie, and it would take a lot for him to get to a point where I say is above Fergie.
He would need another 10 years, wouldn't he? He would need another 10 years. I think
so, because it's longevity is one thing. There's the cups, which I know he's catching up on. I get that. And I don't start I mean, again, I can see why people argue and start to use stuff like style of play, beautiful football, all that sort of stuff. But let's not pretend like we didn't play lovely football
Yeah.
ourselves. We
Oh,
did play very
mate.
exciting football that you
Yeah.
can name some of the plays that we've had over the years, where we've played really,
Dan,
exciting.
just our 99 team and our
Yes.
2008 team, those two
Yeah.
teams alone
Yeah.
could go down. And this is me being honest, but could go down apart from that Barcelona team that stopped us winning more Champions Leagues. But they
Yeah.
could both go down as two of the greatest teams ever. They'd definitely be
Yeah.
top 5 in the what for sure. And that's
Oh,
two
yeah,
of
yeah.
our teams under Fergie that could be top 5 best teams ever. Could
Oh,
easily
yeah,
be
yeah,
second and
yeah.
third. Could easily be
Course.
second and third with Barcelona top. So anyone
Yeah.
saying that we've cheated referees and that's why we were so dominant, I mean, I'm sorry. I'll just show you the team sheet for 2008 and 1999, and you could call it cheating with referees, you could call it all you want, you can say we didn't play good football. I mean, no one's gonna believe you, mate. Rooney,
Yeah.
Tevez and Ronaldo, your front three, with Berbatov sitting on the bench just to take a few shots or a few touches when he feels like, just for the cameras. I mean, have a day off, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Dwight
yeah.
York and Andy Cole. Dwight York and Andy Cole, the most underrated partnership ever. Andy Cole, the most underrated striker ever. Let's be honest. But anyway, look.
No, I just think in terms of obviously we could, in terms of the man. Obviously, you cannot. He's never going to be able to match being able to get Aberdeen to the level he got Aberdeen to. Taking that out of the equation, just talking about the Premier League, I appreciate he'll be catching up. I appreciate he played really lovely football, but it's all subjective anyway. It's all about what you feel is lovely football.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can watch a Pep team and think you just pass.
Thank you.
And it can get boring. It can get boring. I'm not saying that he hasn't changed the way we look at football. Obviously, he's taken bits off Cruyff, he's taken bits off other coaches, put it all together and come up with his own style, which I feel his best football was at Barcelona anyway. But going back to this sort of debate, I just think you look at the longevity, you look at some of the stuff that Fergie's done in terms of managing players, managing egos, building new teams. I always remember as well where I think his best sort of things is like when you go back to, I wish I had the team up where we beat Arsenal. I can't remember what score it was, but I remember that it was just littered in.
I know what you're talking about.
And
Park Ji-sung, Cleverly,
brothers and
the Silver brothers,
like,
Welbeck, shout out Welbeck, who scored again this weekend to beat Liverpool. Danny Welbeck. I mean, that geezer deserves to be in the Premier League Hall of Fame. Honestly.
Oh, well, I get it. And I just think some of the teams that we had were not elite players. And a lot of people saying, oh, you spent all this money. But again, I'd have to look at the facts. But I don't really think we spent crazy on any player for ages. So, like, there was times where you might have bought a Berbatov, which was expensive at the time. I get
a Berbatov,
player.
A Ferdinand.
It was always like 1 or 2 per year, though. It wasn't like your Vidic and your Evras. They were cheap.
We were in a good place.
We had a lot of youth players that came through, like your Beckhams and your Scholes, and your team wasn't expensive. You know, Cantona was a one-off £1 million. It wasn't even £1 million. We had to say it was £1 million because the Leeds chairman didn't want to be embarrassed, so we said it was £1 million. It was less than £1 million. So, you know, yes, we did spend. I'm never going to say we haven't spent, but I think at times City are just like, we'll have that one, we'll have that one, we'll have that one, we'll have that one.
This fella, again, Pep, credit, and I understand why he's in the conversation. He's been fantastic for Man City. Do I wish we got him as manager?
He has to have elite players for me for it to work.
Do I wish that dinner that he had with Fergie maybe went a bit better and that he was Fergie's successor? Yes, of course I do. I'm not going to deny that, right? He's been fantastic. He has just gone and got Gay and Semenyo in the middle of a season. You know?
Exactly.
That's equivalent.
When have we done that, really?
That's equivalent to us signing Wayne Rooney and Rio Ferdinand in the middle of a season, right? Yeah. We never did that. Yes, we did. Yeah. Yes, we did sign. We got the Berbatovs off Spurs. We got the Carricks off Spurs. We got the Rooneys off Everton. You know, the list goes on, right? Rio Ferdinand off Leeds. we did do good business and got the best players in the Premier League and kicked on from there. The Tevez from West Ham. You know what I'm trying to say? We're not innocent in regards to spending money. But, when you take inflation into account, I was just about to say this, and RSV7, with inflation, Sir Alex Ferguson spent 3.5 billion in 26 and a half years. And Pep spent 2.7 billion in 9 years. So on average per season, Pep spent way more than Sir Alex Ferguson in the league.
I keep saying to people, we haven't
Thank you
really
very much
spent
for
as
coming in
much
here
as
and
people
saying
think.
this.
Yeah, but I don't think we spent as much
And
as
do you know what's
people
funny?
think.
Do you know what's funny? If you look at Fabrizio Romano, which I didn't read out here, Pep Guardiola, 19 titles. This is what Pep Guardiola said. In 10 years at Manchester City, in the modern era in England, in Europe, I think it's hats off to the whole organisation. He's not wrong. He's not wrong, because Manchester United have spent a whole bunch of money and gotten fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
But in the conversation, and, Terry telling me that I need to stop supporting Man City. I don't support Man City. I don't want Arsenal to win the quadruple. And yeah, you can have a point against me in regards to Arsenal winning the Premier League. I should maybe want them ahead of Man City, right? But this conversation in regards to Pep and Sir Alex, I think Pep is 10 years or at least 5 years off of it being a real conversation. That's my opinion, to be honest.
This is not a trick question, but when did City win the treble?
Was that 2-3? I don't know when that
Yeah,
was.
that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. When did Man United win the treble?
Yeah, exactly.
When did we win the treble?
Yeah, exactly.
It's etched in everybody's minds.
Yeah, it is.
This is one thing I will say on the argument towards yourself is that I'm sorry, Christian, if you're out there, but it doesn't really impact me when City win things. It does to the sense that I don't like City, never liked City. But in this modern era of, obviously, I don't want to say too much, I don't want to get in trouble, but what they may be accused of, for example, takes the shine off it for me. I also think just the monopoly of it all takes the shine off it for me. And they feel very plasticky to me. Whereas, and I appreciate other teams have spent, but I just go back to some of our times of challenges, and I get it. We can also say that we didn't have loads of teams challenging us for the title at times, but think about some of those classic Arsenal sides, the classic. I mean, obviously even Liverpool to one extent, but more Chelsea under Mourinho and stuff like that. I mean, we've had a lot of high-level challenges, and we've got through it. And it's one of those where
and mate is talking
won a league,
exactly.
It comes back the next year.
And he's talking about modern
sort
era.
Of bounce back ability. Yeah.
He's
modern era is where it's the level of football for me is dipped.
He's talking about modern era. I'm not being funny. Arsenal are at the best of a terrible bunch.
Oh, yeah.
And
don't get me wrong, they've had tussles with Liverpool. I get that. But
let's be honest here.
It was short-lived.
The fact we're third in this table, with having Amorim at the helm for half the season, and Michael Carrick as our manager, with all due respect to him, how are we third in this league? It's an awful league.
It's
an awful league.
We shouldn't be there. If Liverpool were better, Chelsea were better, we're not there.
Exactly. English teams are getting absolutely mullered in Europe. They're getting absolutely mullered in Europe.
Got ripped apart, really, haven't they?
It's an awful league this year. Awful league. And credit to Arsenal. Best of luck to them if they win it. But it's awful at the moment. And, Pep Guardiola saying the modern era. Yeah. I mean, the only challenger he's had this whole time is Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool. The only challenger. Throughout Fergie's reign, he had Arsene Wenger's Arsenal. He had Jose Mourinho's Chelsea. He had City in the latter years with Mancini and Pellegrini. And I'm not even talking about before Arsene Wenger, where he had, the other teams that were challenging at the time. The famous Kevin Keegan rant. Even Leeds at the top of their game at that time, right?
Yeah.
So with all due respect, like I don't know what he's talking about modern era, but anyway.
But really quickly as well, I found his answer quite interesting when he got asked, and I think this was on ESPN part of the interview, and they asked him, Pep, how do you get your players to be motivated to come back and keep winning and stuff like that? And he just said,
get new ones.
It's nothing to do with me, it's the players. And I just think Fergie's answer would be different to that. Or if you was to ask Scholes or Keane, well, maybe not Keane, but Scholes or Nicky Butt or someone like that, or Rio Ferdinand, they'd say the boss had such high standards. There's certain things he'd say to us. He's got the man management skill, and he kept that sort of that ability, that
That
hunger
hunger,
alive.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the sort of answer I'd be expecting from Pep. But he's pretty much saying that's nothing to do with me. It's
Look,
about the players. If the
like I
players
said,
don't want it, then I can't do anything. I
Pep
don't
might.
like that answer
Yeah, I hear you. I hear your point. I think
to a
Pep's
certain extent. You know what I mean? Yeah.
maybe saying that to just put it all on his players. Listen, I rate
Possibly,
this man. I
possibly.
rate this man as a manager. Yes, he's had to
Oh yeah,
spend a
I'm not
lot of
taking anything
money,
away from him.
and
Yeah,
for me, you know, his Barcelona team was fantastic, but it should be with Xavi, Iniesta, and Messi.
yeah,
Could easily be first, second, and third players of all time, easily in any
yeah, yeah,
conversation,
yeah.
right? And I'm not being funny. He wasn't managing Spain when they were dominating it. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Xavi and Iniesta were in that team, completely dominating flipping world football. Complete.
yeah,
You know, they didn't even need Messi, Spain, and they were dominating world football. I think they
yeah,
won a Euros, World Cup, and Euros
yeah. Did they?
in
Yeah,
those
yeah,
prime years. Yeah.
yeah.
All due respect to him, he's always had fantastic teams. Even when he took over at Bayern, listen, Bayern are what they are. If you don't win the league with Bayern, Jesus Lord
But
Almighty.
he wouldn't take. He wouldn't. I can't see him like for example, if he left City today, I can't see him going over to Inter Milan. Let's say I know Inter Milan are
And doing what?
decent, but
Yeah, correct. And doing what
I can't
Mourinho
see
did
it.
there.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
doing
I
what
can't see it.
Mourinho did there. Yeah, yeah. But
Conte,
anyway,
what you name it, I can't see it.
enough on this saliva swallowing Wally, because I've had enough of him anyway. I'll give him his credit where credit's due, but I've had enough of this saliva Wally. I don't know where
Oh
he
yeah, I
finds
can't
all
be
this
doing with it. Yeah,
saliva,
yeah, I can't.
but he's got
That's
saliva for
disgusting.
days.
I'm sick of seeing that.
His mouth is so dry, isn't it? His mouth is so dry. I mean, I get it when I talk a lot here. I get a bit of spit come out of my beard or whatever. It happens. My wife tells me all the time. But fuck me, I couldn't. He pulls out this white
It's
stuff
like
from his.
yeah, it's like he's chewing gum, and then you realise it's spit, and it's like it's disgusting.
Oh, it's disgusting. Anyway, that alone puts him under Fergie because at least Fergie could afford chewing gum.
Yeah, he just spit
Anyway,
chewing gum out.
final section. This fella. And again, I said it at the top of the show, right? That we were linked with Tonali. That's kind of died down. And I made a whole thing. I haven't got it today, unfortunately, but I made a whole thing comparing Tonali's stats and Guimaraes' stats this season. And I kind of said that, I mean, out of the two, if we're going to break the bank, we need to break the bank for this fella. And it would be quite cool having two Brunos in the team, you know,
Yeah.
the main Bruno. And
Good for the commentator.
Bruno.
Bruno to Bruno, Bruno to Bruno.
I think this would be a fantastic signing.
Mm.
My question to you, Dan, whether this goes ahead or not, there's a few articles here. This one saying Man United could be using Bruno Guimaraes as a smokescreen for completely different transfer. It goes on to say they actually want Adam Wharton and they're trying to drive the price down. There's another article here that basically says it's more or less done and it would be £60 million. £60 million.
Yeah.
And listen, Romano says here Newcastle will not make life easy. Of course they won't. Eddie Howe saying it's a nonsense story. For me, it's not the time to think about it. In the summer, you can understand those stories a little bit more because the transfer window is open. To say our captain is in discussions with another club is totally disrespectful to Bruno Guimaraes more than anything else. He's totally committed here. This is what Eddie Howe's saying because he has to say that. What manager doesn't? Of
course he does. Yeah.
Look, it's too early to say whether this is concrete or not. The reason I'm putting this up on the screen here is, and to finish the show, if we get this fella, does it fix our midfield issues or does it replace Casemiro? You know, does this fix anything for us?
Yeah. The question: does it fix?
Does it improve? Of course it does.
Well, it improves. I would say it doesn't fix. It definitely improves. I think it gives us what Casemiro should be giving us because you've been right yourself, and maybe Alex said the same, that his goals mask his performance. And I think that happens with a lot of our players at the moment, where if they don't score or assist, it doesn't feel like they're doing much else. So I think a Bruno G coming in with that captain sort of attitude and spirit, once he gets into a club, I mean, he absolutely loves Newcastle, but I think if he came to Manchester United, he'd just fall head over heels. And I just think to have someone with that mentality, and his stats aren't bad as well, even going forward. I know he's more I'd say he's probably quite all action in a sense, to a certain degree. But I think even going forward, he can give you some goals. I think is he on 9 goals this season, I think.
I'm not sure. I'm not
So
sure.
I think he's on about 9 goals himself this season. So to get that from midfield, where we've obviously are panicking that we're going to lose goals in midfield when Casemiro goes. Obviously, he's not as good in the air as Casemiro. I don't foresee him scoring a shed load of headers,
Yeah.
but there's some goals in him.
Bruno Guimaraes has 9 goals and 4
yeah,
assists in 23 appearances in the
yeah,
Premier League this season.
yeah. There you go. So I just think good on the ball, quite secure on the ball. I don't know what his passing stats are like, but I think his pass.
I put that up
not
there, and he
bad.
wasn't far off Tonali, which is known as like the next best thing since Pirlo.
And
he is up there.
He's disciplined. I don't think he's got a red card this season. I think he's got maybe a few yellows, but most midfielders are going to get yellows. So he's not one of those hotheads like a Romero for Spurs, for example, where you're going to lose him every few games. So the only downside, if you want to call it that, is his age. And without being stereotypical, I always feel that you lose a Brazilian when you get into those sort of 30s.
That's a great point.
I think Liverpool lost it in Fabinho. I think City lost it in Fernandinho. I think they get to the end of the shelf life as they get to sort of early to mid 30s.
Yeah, he's 28.
They struggle a little bit. He's going to be 29 this year into November. I think overall, I prefer him over
60
Tonali,
million.
personally.
I see your concern, but 60 million.
60 million's beautiful. If you can get him for 60 million, give him to us right now. I just don't know if he'll cost that. And there might be an agreement there that we're not aware of, a gentleman's agreement.
I mean, how far in
Champions League? I don't know.
How far would you go?
Money-wise?
Yeah, 80?
Yeah, I did think
85?
about this really quickly. I'd probably say in today's market and what some of these players are going for, does he do, and I don't want to be contradictory because I do think Rice is a good player. It's just that I don't think he's a massive game changer. But does he do something similar to Rice where you're crying out for that midfielder to step in to the void and then he sort of, slips in seamlessly and does a good job? Definitely does that. I think you probably get a bit more from him than Rice is giving to Arsenal. Could be controversial take, I don't know, but that's how I feel. So I'd probably cap it off around 85, like you've just said there, to be fair. 80 to 85, I'd probably cap it off there. Because I think if you start going into your 90s and 100s for someone that's going 29, it's a little bit, because that's like last contract sort of thing, what we're going to be paying him weekly. I just think cap it off around that 80, 85, I'd go with that. Anything higher than that, I'm looking at someone else that's going to give us a few more years. I
mean, I've just put a question in the chat, which I'll pop up on the screen here. Why not? Who partners him in midfield? Keep Casemiro another year, or do you partner him with Mainu? I guess the question I'm asking you is, do you hold on to Casemiro another year if you're getting Bruno Guimaraes in and play them in midfield?
I know. I was at one point I was saying keep Casemiro, but I think as much as I'm loving Casemiro and how he's been playing in the sense of scoring goals, how good he is in the air, in the opposition's box, and his celebrations and everything, I just think, as I've just said earlier about that shelf life of the Brazilians, I think we shouldn't be pushing this any further now until the end of the season. I think get to the end of the season, he's playing like it's his last season. I don't think you get much more out of him for a full season next season. I mean, I get it. If you said keep him and he played a bit part role, he stayed for his experience, I sort of understand that. But for me, I think salary, his age, he's playing like it's his last season. He's giving everything for his last season. I think we close. We say thank you very much, Casemiro. It's been a blast. See you later. In terms of partnering, it doesn't feel, although it'll be interesting to see actually, it doesn't feel like I'm sort of looking at Mano now and thinking I like Mano. I think there's potential there, but the Mano so far, I don't know if that's enough. So I'd like to see another midfielder come in just to sort of give a bit of competition, bit of challenge, and be able to sort of be a bit more flexible in the way we set up a little bit. So I'd still want to see. I don't know if I'm having Baleba, by the way. I know that's a different conversation. And I don't think you could buy Bruno G and Anderson.
This
I
is what
don't
I'm
think you
saying.
can buy him and Wharton. So you'd have to get. I mean, a lot of people are saying Ghana, and I'm not sure about that one.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
I'm saying no on that as well. I think if we could get another midfielder in, I'm not sure who I'd have to think about that. I'd be quite happy to go with that. But this would be a good first signing through the door in the summer. And I'd be all over this if we get him under the 85 million mark. But partnering up with Mano, it could work better than it is with Casemiro because obviously this guy has got more energy, he's younger, his stats will be better around the defensive contributions and even going forward with the 4 assists and 9 goals. I think you're getting an all-action player here who could make Mano raise a little bit. So could be a shout.
So you're happy to partner with Manu?
I think purely because if we buy him, I don't think we're going to have much left in the coffers to get everything else that we need. I don't see us getting 2 elite midfielders coming through the door. I don't see it. I don't see us getting like a Bruno G and Tonali because I don't see Newcastle selling 2 of their best players like that.
You say this, but last year we did go and get Mbeumo and Cunha,
But what I mean is getting them 2 elite players from the same club. So like a Tonali Bruno G is what I mean.
I don't think so.
But I think if you could get Bruno G, I don't know if we could afford. I don't know if you're having Baleba, by the way. I'm not sure I am anymore. But I don't know if we can afford Baleba and Bruno G. So it's just really. I still think we need to get another midfielder in, but we need to bring. I still think we need another centre back. And I think we need
left back and right back.
Exactly. Right and left back. So it's how far the money's going to stretch, really. So that's why I'm saying if you get Bruno G at 60, I think we're laughing.
You have to do it, right?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I'd be a massive fan of that signing. I love him as a player. I love his tenacity. I love his work rate. I love his passion. I think he'd be a great addition to the current squad. Cunha, also Brazilian.
My only concern is the injury record. I'm not sure what that's like. And it seems like he's been out for a bit. So I'd have to look into that. But other than that, I'm with you with everything you're saying there.
For sure. Right. I mean, that wraps it up for us, Dan. Look, it's been a great show again. And yes, we'll be here next Monday as always, folks. But
what we're going to talk about?
What are we going to
There's always things. There's always news.
Of course there is. But it's just quite sad that our next game is the 13th of April. I mean, my birthday's on the 5th of April, so I'm going to be 35 by the time our next game happens. So
I'm making that sound long now,
yeah, I'm going to be even more miserable than I am now. Because I'm going to be 35, I'm going to be even older and angrier and just upset with the world. You know what I mean? The older you get, I feel like I'm just so cranky, bruv. I used to be so happy and the world was so genuine and, everything was so lovey-dovey. Now it's like, oh my God. I read this article the other day.
Arsenal started playing better, so it's ruined your life there.
This is not football, but I read an article the other day that there's these brand new speed cameras going up in London. High tech speed, and at the same time I get my council tax letter come through the door. That's gone up. Mortgages have gone up again, and I'm due my new mortgage.
You're all going up.
And you know what? I see that they've got enough money though to improve speed cameras and improve, anyway,
how much it makes.
Yeah, we're not going to make a government show out of this. But the point is, I'm getting more and more and more cranky as time goes on. And by the time Man United play again, I'm going to be not a year older, obviously, but I'm 34 now and I'm going to be 35 when they next play. Believe me, they better get 3 points because I'm going to be as cranky as it comes.
We need a Premier League trophy, don't we, very soon?
Oh, mate. I remember after Fergie retired and a few years went by and we went through a few managers, I said to my dad, you know what, Dad? I don't reckon we win a Premier League until I'm 50. And my dad just laughed. My dad just laughed at me and was like, yeah, I'm not sure about that. Do you know what? I'm only 15 years off that, and it's been. Is this the 13th year? 2013, correct. This will be the 2013 is when we won it. This will be the 13th year. And listen, you know as well as I do, Dan, 13 years can fly by once again.
Yeah,
So
it can. It can.
I really hope I'm wrong about that. And you know, I
I
really
hope
hope
you're wrong about that.
I hope I don't look back on what I just said in 13 years on this stream that we won't win a Premier League title until I'm 50. But listen, signing players like Bruno Guimaraes is going to hopefully help propel us up. And I'll pop this up for a final time on the screen. Not wrong one, this one. Finishing third this season will also push us in that direction. And you know what? Getting the right manager, whether that be Michael Carrick or Luis Enrique next, it seems that it's going to be out of those two as an option. I think it's really important. That decision is really important, but we'll save that to talk about that on our next show. Guys, please subscribe to Dan Talks United. Thanks for those that have been here, participated, put in comments. We really do appreciate it. It's been emotional once again in the emotion room.
Emotion room.
Exactly. Catch you on the next one. Glory, glory, Manchester United, I guess, is how we
Come on.
See you guys soon.
See you later.